And welcome back to another episode of Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? What is up, man? I am having so much fun in Hearthstone right now. Man, I don't know. I'm in a good spot, man. I don't know about you.
I can tell. You're saying man multiple times in one sentence. That's how I know you're in a good place.
That's one of my tells. No. Again, before we get into all the news we have this week and our card reviews, but my time in Hearthstone, I was going to make a push to possibly try to qualify for 11x multiplier next month. Because that's one of the golden carrots I haven't done yet. And I kind of hit a wall, but in hitting that wall, I've kind of found some really fun, both wild and standard decks. And I'm just kind of enjoying the meta right now. I'm just having fun with it. I'm really, really excited for the next set to come out.
Yeah. I know. I can't believe we're already almost through the entire month of July. It seems just like yesterday was July the 4th, and now here we are recording on July the 26th. We're only a few days away from the release of Scholomance. Time's flying.
I see, and I feel the opposite. I don't know if it's because I'm out of work right now. I think my listeners all know that I'm on layoff until August, so I go back to work first week of August, which I'm excited for. But this feels like the longest meta I've ever been in, this Ashes of Outland meta. It feels like we've been in this meta for like 2 years or something. I'm really excited for a fifth set to be added to Year of the Phoenix, because I don't know if it's because of all the nerfs or what, but I'm just ready for Ashes of Outland meta to go to something different.
Yeah, no, I understand. I feel like, maybe it's because there's a new hero, or maybe because it seems like Demon Hunter's been nerfed 4 times already since it released. But
yeah, and one of those nerfs wasn't really a true Demon Hunter nerf because it was a lateral move. They nerfed a bunch of the classes down. And I'm not saying that the Ash Outland meta was not fun or not good, because I thought it was great. It was much needed for multiple nerfs, and it was very fresh because of the nerfs. But it's just, I think this meta has been a bit played out, and it probably is because of the introduction of Demon Hunter. And not that I don't like Demon Hunter. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. But at the same time, when everybody plays the new thing, you're ready for the new thing to become the old thing again.
Yeah, well, but they've nerfed Demon Hunter enough that, it's allowed Paladin to rise back up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so Paladin and Hunter right now are top of the meta because of the most recent nerfs, which was a heavy hand nerf to both Warrior and Demon Hunter. However, as we're kind of seeing, as I'm seeing on the ladder, Demon Hunter's not dead. It's still high up in the meta, and a lot of that is because of all the nerfs and the balancing, Hunter rose. And because Hunter rose, Paladin rose, because Paladin beats Hunter. Well, Demon Hunter beats both Hunter and Paladin, even in its nerf state. So you're seeing some people get wise and go, hey, why don't I just keep playing Demon Hunter and eke out those majority wins, because I'm going to play more Hunter and Paladin. And it's working for them. Now, HS replay stats are a bit skewed because a lot of that's based on popularity, not necessarily just win rate, but how many games are being played. And so you're seeing Hunter and Paladin rise to the top. But Demon Hunter is still very, very viable right now. So don't put it away. But I am excited for us to go back to School-omance in August.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for the new cards. Oh, we finally got a release date.
We did, yeah. So after our show last week, they announced that Scholomance Academy will launch on Thursday, August the 6th.
Yeah, so this kind of lines up with what I thought would happen, that we'd either see an August 4th or August 6th. I was hoping for August 4th, but I understand the August 6th because I don't even know if they'd be completely ready. They've kind of banged all this out with content and card reveals. I was afraid they wouldn't hit the August 4th mark smoothly. But they're doing it on Thursday, which usually tends to be their fallback plan. If we can't do it Tuesday, we do it Thursday.
Right.
So I'm excited because that means we have, 5 days to get into a stable spot on the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it'd be Diamond 5. For everybody else, it's whatever they feel comfortable settling at a floor. Some people it's gold, some people it's platinum. Just depends on your push and drive to play. Then you can, when the set comes out on August 6th, you can kind of just go crazy playing what you want without fear of falling.
So question for you. Depending on how and where you finish the season, do you think you're going to try to make a legend push in those first 5 days before the meta changes? Or are you going to specifically wait for Scholomance Academy before you start pushing?
I don't know, because it really depends on what... The 31st and the 1st are two totally different metas, because you have the group that wants to grind up fast, you have people that are stopping the people that are grinding up fast. It really depends on what the flow is. If I could shoot to Diamond 5 in like a day and a half, I might make a legend push. I've calculated after the last couple months and the new ladder system that once I get Diamond 5, if I settle into a good deck with a decent 55% win rate that I can play well, I can get to Legend within 10 hours.
Okay.
It's kind of been my calculation. So if I feel I've got 2 good 5-hour sessions between now, at that point when I'm at Diamond 5,
right.
until
so
the set drops it on the 6th,
yeah,
then I probably will push for Legend. But if not, I'll just settle it.
The 1st is a Saturday, so if you could get back to Diamond 5 before we record our show next week, then the possibility of you maybe trying to push on Monday, Tuesday, the 3rd and 4th could be pretty good.
Well, could be pretty good, but I'm also supposed to be going back to work.
Right. You'd have your evenings to kind of push.
Yeah. So depending on the schedules and my sleep schedule changing again, we'll just have to see. I don't think I will be pushing for Legend before Scholomance comes out, but if the opportunity's there, I'll take it naturally.
Right. Well, I was thinking, you're probably feel pretty familiar with this current meta that we're in. You know what decks you're going to see on the ladder. You know how to face them. Whereas on the 6th, everything changes. There'll be new decks on the ladder, new.
Yes, and for a customary player, I would say you're right. That's probably the path I should take. However, I thrive in new metas where people don't know what's going on. And I also thrive in combo-centric metas, which once we get to the card reveals and reviews that we have this week, the meta might be trending to a pro-combo style player like myself. So I actually think I might have a better chance of getting from Diamond 5 to Legend once the set drops. But again, I haven't seen all the cards yet, so we'll just have to see. There's definitely a lot of opportunity for me to do well with this new set.
Well, I can confirm Zerotio thrives when he has no idea what's going on. All right, so moving on. Along with this launch of this release date, we also now have the an idea of the Scholomance Academy pre-release events that will be going on. And again, in light of the ongoing global health risk associated with in-person gatherings, Blizzard will not be hosting any official fireside gatherings. However, they do want individuals to have the opportunity to partake in the upcoming pre-release events. So they will be, anybody can go on to firesidegatherings.com and can schedule a private fireside gathering. Now, what does that mean for those of you who may not be familiar with firesides? Well, a private fireside gathering will be eligible to receive the Nimsy Necrofizzle hero portrait if they have an established tavern. Meaning you've run events in the past and you have an established tavern, you will be eligible to receive Nimsy.
Yeah, and the way to know if you're an established tavern is when you schedule your event, whether it's private or public, you'll have a specialized like icon that has a tavern like
your logo.
You'll have a logo. If you don't have a logo associated with your account, you're not established.
Yeah. Also, you'll be eligible for the Fireside Gatherings card back if you don't already have it. You basically you will be allowed to event list creation the same day it's meant to be hosted. You will have the same fireside brawls as public fireside gatherings would normally have. And you'll be visible on the website only to the innkeeper hosting it, meaning once you create your private fireside, nobody else will be able to see it except for you. That's the private part.
If you want anybody to attend it, you will literally have to contact them and say, hey,
invite them
come over to my house or come over to my location. Because, again, there are no public firesides being hosted because they don't want to risk anybody.
Again, and we want to further state the fact that if you are hosting a private fireside gathering, be safe. Only invite people you know, or people you know have tested negative recently, or people who have been in quarantine. So you want to protect yourself and those you invite over during this unprecedented global health risk. So be smart, be safe, and make sure you know who you're inviting, and ask those questions you get asked every time you go out to a restaurant. Have you been around anybody? Have you had a temperature?
And this isn't just for if you have more than one person. If it's just you, you won't be able to do the brawls or anything like that, but you'll be able to open your packs early. Also, this is perfect for families that might have kids that play along with their parents. So you can do a fireside in the house, and then everybody who gets on can see it, and that way your kids can enjoy the set early and maybe open some packs if you've gotten the bundles. But if you haven't gotten the bundles, you can at least access those cards in specialized brawls specifically for the pre-release. So this is perfect if you have family members or friends that live nearby, like neighbors or something, that play Hearthstone.
Yeah. So now, time frame. You need to create your fireside this week because the pre-release starts this coming Friday, July 31st at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and will run until the following Monday, August the 3rd at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern. Sorry.
Yeah. And another thing to note is if you don't know exactly when you would want to do it, you just know like a day or maybe a block a day, you can schedule up to 5 events. So for me personally, and events can run up to 8 hours. Me personally, I have an 8-hour event for Friday. I have 2 8-hour events Saturday, 2 8-hour events Sunday, because I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. So I just want to make sure I'm completely available to be able to open my packs and check out the new set. So you can do 5 and up to 8 hours.
There you go. So go set up your private firesides. If you have bought the pre-release bundles already, you'll be able to open those packs this coming weekend. I'm excited and look forward to it. And of course, my son bought the bundle as well, so he and I will be playing some of the fireside brawls and checking out some of the new cards together. I'm excited about that. So.
I need to just get a computer, put it at your house so I can remote into it, VPN into it at any time I want to.
We should just set up a VPN so you can remote into my network anyway, and we can play.
We got to get on that.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of playing from home, they've scheduled the next Masters Tour online. Well, I say they scheduled it. It was already scheduled. It's Masters Tour Madrid was scheduled for December of this year. However, in lieu of the online variations of the Masters Tour, and to kind of fall it in line for preparing for Grandmasters for 2021, which would be, what's that, season 5, I think.
Yeah.
They've moved the Madrid Masters Tour from December to October 23rd through 25th.
That's right. They moved it up almost 2 months, or a month and a half anyway. But yeah, so that means qualifying for Masters Tour Madrid is going to be happening really soon. In fact, the season for qualifying starts the same day Scholomance Academy drops, August 6th.
This is crazy because you could go ahead and sign up for one of these August 6th, and the qualifiers run from August 6th to September 27th. But if you're one of those players like me that thrive on a new meta and catching people off guard, maybe you sign up for one of the Masters Tour qualifiers that start right after the set drops. And you might be able to edge yourself into a qualifications for Masters Tour Madrid, which is online, so you don't have to go to Madrid.
Okay. So, like you said, sign up for those events. Looks like, the qualifiers start let's see, July 24th. I was looking to see if they had the schedule up where you could see the first event, but I don't see it.
Yeah, they usually don't put them up for 2 weeks, so you'll probably see it Monday.
Here we go. So here's one at 9 a.m. Pacific, August 7th, which is the day after the set releases. I'm sure there will probably be some on that day, but go and
that evening most likely.
Yeah, go and have some fun with the new cards. I know it'll be a blast.
They also put in the announcement, the blog, that Masters Tour Madrid is going to be the final tour stop to qualify for Grandmasters 2021.
Yes.
So here's my question: since Madrid's the final tour stop to qualify, then does that mean that we might actually see a world championship in the Year of the Phoenix?
That's, it's hard to say, because normally they hold the world championships
the start of the next year.
At the start of the next year. So, but, the start of the next year happens in April.
Yeah, and usually that's because they're doing these events at locations, so it's taking so much time to do these. So I'm wondering if we see a Masters Tour Madrid at the end of October, and then that gives the rest of the Grand Masters to kind of finish up, which they usually finish up just before BlizzCon.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe in December, when the new set comes out, the third set for this year, maybe that's when we're going to see the World Championship in a fresh meta with a 6-set meta instead of a 4-set meta.
That would be great, yeah.
I think it'd be awesome because it always kind of saddened me to see. I think this last one was on a meta rotation behind or something. It was, I don't know, it lost a lot of luster for me, and I just wanted to see. Well, this last one was at BlizzCon, but the one before that Hunter Ace one, was kind of a weird April time. So maybe they're planning to, because they said that World Championships won't be at BlizzCon because there is no BlizzCon, but they're going to do something. So maybe that's what we see in December.
Maybe that would be interesting.
That would be really cool. So. Yeah, really cool.
All right, that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which is just a hallucination. These aren't my beautiful cards. This is not my beautiful deck. Your deck's overflowing with hallucinations. Go see how the other side plays. Have you done this yet, Zerotio?
Yes, I have. And this Tavern Brawl was like water flowing under a rock. It's It's the same as it ever was. And if you got that joke, congratulations, you're old like me. No, this is a good one. It's kind of one of those one and dones for me, but it's neat because Hallucination was one of the cards that didn't get grandfathered in to find a card of any other class. It's find a card of your opponent's class. So if you end up deciding to play mirror classes, then it's not as much fun. But fortunately, I was playing Paladin. My opponent was playing Warlock, so that was kind of neat. Having Warlock cards in my Paladin. I would have liked to maybe hit one of the cross classes to kind of see how it might feel when the new set comes out.
Right.
If I hit Warrior with Paladin or Priest with Paladin, but again, it wouldn't be a perfect simulation, but it'd be interesting. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay. I haven't actually done this Tavern Brawl yet. Like I said, I bought my Scholomance Academy mega bundle this week and immediately jumped into Battlegrounds. I've been playing Battlegrounds all week. So I
have been playing a lot of Battlegrounds this week.
Yeah.
I finally got Arana. I finally was able to pick the new buffed Arana where it takes 5 times to get to 7, and I went for a Pogo Hopper build, and it was horrible. It did not work very well.
Okay.
But then I got Bran and went with a Pogo Hopper build. Basically, you get to 2, and then you just use his hero power to get Pogo Hoppers.
Yeah. Regis Kilbin, you are not, sir. But
no, with Bran, I did really good. I got first place. I had huge Pogos.
Yeah.
I got him. I got golden Pogos, and then I ramped up and got the gold grubber so that he was getting buffed because of my golden Pogos. It was really good.
I got Bran in one of mine and finished second place with him, so I was really happy with it. It was a lot of fun.
I also had one where I guess I queued up and then I got distracted by somebody's comment on Discord and had to respond to him, and I looked over and realized, oh no, I missed the hero selection, and it automatically gave me Reno.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, Reno. So I looked up on the HS Replays list, and Reno, sure enough, sitting on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, great.
Yeah.
So I Wrathweavered. I used my 2 mana to make my Wrathweaver a golden, and I ended up winning that game.
Wow.
Getting first place. And I was like, Reno's not bad. And I wouldn't have picked him normally either, because I wouldn't have picked him because I was like, he's horrible. I'm not going to pick him. So I'm kind of like, well, maybe Reno's not as bad as he was. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to this week's deck list, which
we don't have.
There is no deck list this week because we are in the middle of card reveal season. So, if you guys... And
just as a reminder, no deck this week, so us audio listeners, you get a little added bonus of hearing us talk about the set. For this week, and then next week we're going to get the huge card dump.
Yeah. So
we're going to do the card reviews, the last of the card reviews next week, and then the set comes out.
That's right. Yeah. So if you guys watched our episode on YouTube or on our website, heropowerhs.com, last week, we're going to do the exact same thing. I had Zerotio's wife just beat him relentlessly until he created us a card review PDF. So we'll switch over to that. You can see all the glorious work he has put into this. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into these card reviews.
Yeah.
So it was a big week. We've got 32 cards to talk about this week after the 14 that we talked about last week. That's
a lot of legendaries.
A lot of legendaries have been revealed, and that's where we're going to start. We are going to start with the neutral legendaries.
And normally I would kind of come out soft, but because there's so much content, I was like, let's do these neutral legendaries because they're big talking points this week. They're huge. They're going to... Some of these cards in this first slide are going to define the meta week 1.
That's right. So let's jump right into it. All right, first up, we have Headmaster Kel'thuzad. He's a 5-mana 4/6 with Spell Burst, If the spell destroys any minions, summon them. So I'm just going to start with, when this card dropped, my son, who doesn't play Hearthstone near as much as most people, started flipping out about this card. Dad, does it work with this interaction? Dad, how does it work with that interaction? Dad, what about this? And then he started posting in our patron-only Discord, asking Man-at-Arms, hey, what about this? What about that? And there's gonna be, this is gonna be a really interesting card. I'm excited about it as well.
So, did you read the card completely out?
If the spell destroys any minions, summon them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this card reveal was done by the Korean production group that does a really cool animations and kind of coined the whole Anduin wow meme.
Yeah.
So basically, the Frazzled Freshman gets put into a duel and throws down Headmaster Kel'thuzad, who's sitting in the stands watching the fight, and he zips in front of her, and then she plays a brawl, and brawl, they jump in, great animations, they all fight. Kel'thuzad wins the brawl, and then all of the minions that died get resummoned on Kel'Thuzad's side of the board.
Now, it's important to note, Kel'Thuzad has to survive.
Yes.
For this ability to happen. So, when they use Brawl as the example card, if Headmaster Kel'Thuzad doesn't survive the Brawl, you don't get the resummoned minions.
That's correct. And also to remember, it's spell burst. So the first spell you cast, it's going to pop that spell burst. It won't work again. Not while that version of Kel'Thuzad is in play. It's only a one-time thing. So you can't lightning bolt something and then clear the rest of the board. You only get whatever you kill with the lightning bolt. So, and I'm really, really excited. Now, I don't know how. It says if the spell destroys any minions, summon them. So I don't know if the spell doesn't destroy any minions, if it'll still pop the spell burst. I'm not sure how that'll work. But this is exciting because there's going to be a lot of board type removal in this set, and I'm really excited to see if Headmaster Kel'Thuzad, because he's a 5-mana 4/6. He's just good stats for 5 mana, and 5 mana is a decent break point for a lot of your removal. Now, you won't be able to Flame Strike, but there's a lot of other things you can do.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have Lorekeeper Polkelt. He's a 4-mana 4/5 with a battle cry. Reorder your deck from the highest cost card to the lowest cost card. So we have legitimate deck manipulation in this card, and this card actually scares me. I know I've seen a lot of people on social media all week going, this card is trash, garbage, worst card in the set, can't believe they're in this. You know who's not saying this card is trash, garbage, the worst card they've ever seen?
The wild community
and the Grandmasters.
Oh yeah,
the Grandmasters are salivating over this card.
So a couple things to note. Ysera, the Druid Legendary Ysera, she shuffles 9 mana portals into your deck that summon dragons. So if you play her and then the next turn you play Lorekeeper Polkelt,
the very next card you play that draws a card is going to fill your board.
It's going to fill your board, unless you have other 9 mana minions or cards in the deck.
Yeah.
Or albeit 10 mana. But if you don't have anything 9 mana or higher, then the top 7 cards are all going to be those portals. Also, in Wild, if you play Lorekeeper Polkelt for 4 mana, and then for 5 mana you Holy Wrath your opponent's face, your Shirvallow is guaranteed to be at the top of your deck. because
Okay.
it's 25. It's 25 cost.
Okay, you're right. You're right. And Holy Wrath reads, draw a card,
Draw a card, deal its damage.
So it's always going to be Shrivala.
Always going to be Shrivala. Now, there is one clarification that was, I believe, it was Regis Kilbin that got this from one of the devs on Twitter. If anything shuffles anything into a deck, it shuffles the deck. So if you play Lorekeeper Polket, and then the next turn your opponent shuffles a bomb into your deck with like Wrench Caliber,
it's going to completely
your deck is
reshuffle
no
your deck.
longer it doesn't just put a bomb in your deck, it shuffles your entire deck.
That's good to know. So
yeah, so it's kind of something that is a tech around this.
Yeah.
If they do it for like a setup for next turn, play something that shuffles something into your opponent's deck.
Okay.
But Polkelt has, I mean, we just gave a couple examples, and they're not even super powerful. Well, the wild one is, but the standard, not super powerful. Except there's another one, Quest Warlock. You complete your quest, you play Lorekeeper Polkelt, and you're likely to have Malygos at the top of your deck, and you can tap into him and make him free.
Zero. Exactly.
Zero cost. So you play the Polkelt, you pay 2 mana to tap into Malygos. Malygos is free. Now you have, what's that, 4 mana left to play damage spells?
Yeah, go off with mass damage. Yeah, it's...
You might be able to cut... just off initial review with that deck, I would cut Alexstrasza out of the deck because you no longer need to reduce your opponent down to 15 if you have 4 mana to play with.
Exactly.
And if that's the case, then you're guaranteed to get Malygos. You won't hit your Alexstrasza. Though, having a free Alexstrasza is also good. So, this card allows for so many possibilities. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, next up, another legendary neutral is Vectus. He's a 5-mana 4/4 battle cry. Summon 2 1/1 whelps. No, that doesn't sound very good. But wait, there's more. Each gains a death rattle from your minions that died this game. So if you put this in a death rattle build, or you have specific death rattles that you're running, when these whelps come into play, they gain the death rattle of a minion that has already died this game. You could do some mean things with this.
You could put eggs in your deck, so they pop eggs. This could be maybe a top end for a zoo style deck. You could, if you're playing wild, and you could maybe make a Mecha'thun deck where you get your Mecha'thun out and kill it, and then now when these death rattles come out, it summons 2 death rattles that do the Mecha'thun ability, and you have 5 extra mana to clear your board.
Mm-hmm.
To then kill those 2 whelps to then win the game. So there's lots and lots of possibilities for these 3 cards alone. Are going to make up for some very, very interesting style decks in their own.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I wanted to show all these 3 on one slide, is because they enable so many decks in different classes. A lot of times you'll see a specific neutral legendary, and you'll think, yeah, it could go in just about any class, but it's probably specifically for this class because it's a build around. But this, I'm thinking of at least half a dozen different decks that involve these 3 strategies.
Yeah.
And man, we just gotten started this week.
That's right. Moving on, we have one more neutral legendary, and it is a neutral weapon.
Yeah, first neutral weapon ever, right?
Correct. The Sphere of Sapience. It's a 1-mana 0/4. At the start of your turn, look at the top card. You can put it on the bottom and lose 1 durability. Okay.
Yeah, more deck manipulation.
For those who have been around, like Zerotio and I, and played Magic the Gathering, this is what is known as scrying.
Yes.
You can scry 1, which means look at the top card of your deck, make the decision to keep it or put it on the bottom. There are going to be cards you want to keep when you look at the top card of your library. This will be around more than 4 turns on average, more often than not. So you'll look, oh, I need that. I'm going to keep it. You keep the durability. You look at the next one. I'm going to put it on the bottom. Lose the durability. I mean, this card has such value, I feel like, as a neutral weapon. It can be run in non-weapon classes.
Yeah, and this is the first time we've seen a neutral weapon in the game. Now, we've seen cards that give you neutral weapons, but this is the first time that we've seen a neutral weapon just put into a set. And I know I keep bringing up Wild, but a lot of this set impacts Wild greatly. I think this set, Scholomance Academy, might be the most impactful set in Wild I've seen since like a Blackrock Mountain of, pre-Wild, really. But you could play Twig of the World Tree and then play Sphere of Sapience, and boom, you're at 10 mana.
Mm-hmm.
Also, combo decks or slower control decks could specifically use this to get to those cards they need better. This is deck manipulation on a totally different level, and I'm excited for this set and this card alone. I don't know how much Standard's going to use this out the gate, but it is definitely going to be a draw tool that any deck can use.
I feel like this set, just on what we've seen this far and what we're getting ready to cover, is probably one of the most powerful sets we've seen since Knights of the Frozen Throne introduced.
I think I said that the first and I agree 100%.
Yeah.
The power level of this set is through the roof, and the level of combo-centric cards that are being put into the set and tech cards to counter those combo cards, man, it's going to be... I feel right now, we haven't even... I think we've barely scratched the surface, like 37 cards so far, once the slide is done. We barely scratched the surface, and I think we might not be bored of this meta after 4 months.
Yeah.
There's just so many options just looking at these cards.
All right, moving on. We are now looking at neutral commons. And first up, we have the Pen Flinger. He's a 1-mana, 1/1, battle cry, deal 1 damage, spell burst, return this to your hand. Some may call him Tim.
I love the reference.
That's a Magic the Gathering joke.
Well, that's a
it's also a Monty Python joke. Yeah.
Which is what spurned the Tim joke in Magic the Gathering, because there was a ping minion that looked like Tim from Monty Python.
Yeah.
But it's good. I don't know how good constantly getting a bounce back 1 damage is gonna be in the meta. Though, you Pen Flinger, you ping something for 1, and then in Paladin, you play the new Libram of Justice, turning everything into 1 health, all your opponent's minions into 1 health.
Right.
Well, Pen Flinger pops back, and you can kill another minion. So, I mean, there's definitely some use in that type of style. But as like a crazy combo, you'd have to bounce him so many times. I don't know. I don't know if it's even possible to make a deck around it. But if a quick aggressive meta is in, which at the start of a set, quick aggressive tends to be the way everybody goes, because that's how you just want to get as many games in as possible, learn the meta, so people play aggro. I don't know if that's going to be the case this time, because there's lots of tools that are going to counter that right out the gate. And Pen Flinger might be one of those tools.
Well, that's right. And if you need a spell, a cheap spell to return him to your hand and play him again, this next card, the Wand Maker, fits that pretty well. Wand Maker is a 2-mana 2/2 with a battle cry. Add a 1-cost spell from your class to your hand.
Yeah, I like cards like this because certain classes might get better benefit out of this card than other classes, like specifically Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter, we found a lot of cards like the Volpera Scoundrel,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't used in other decks because there's so many spells. You don't know if the 3 spells going to offer you are going to be good spells. But in Demon Hunter, it was used because they have such a smaller pool of spells that you're likely going to get a good spell. Well, in the case of Wand Maker, there's even less 1-cost spells. You're almost guaranteed to get maybe the Twin Slice you need or that Silence that you need. So Wand Maker is going to be really good in classes like that. I don't know if it's an auto include in most classes, but in something like, say, Mage, you might just need extra spells in your hand to pull off crazy combos. And I have some ideas of those that we'll talk about more when we get to those cards.
Okay. All right, moving on. We have a Demon Hunter Legendary.
Oh, yeah.
Star Student Stelina. She's a 4-mana 4/3 with Outcast. Look at 3 cards in your opponent's hand. Shuffle one of them into their deck. So again, here we have that shuffle mechanic that can counteract Pelcolt, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
So
Demon Hunter specifically has a lot of cards that shuffle things back into your opponent's deck, or it manipulates your or your opponent's deck quite handily. And on a 4-mana 4/3 body, this is just solid.
yeah. Yeah, it really is. So, all right, moving on. We have the Demon Hunter rare cards, and we're starting with a card that has caused quite a bit of stir in the community this week.
That's understating it. Stir
So,
is not a strong enough a word.
this card is called Glide. It is a 4-mana Demon Hunter spell. Shuffle your hand into your deck. Draw 4 cards.
Now, before we move on to the text, this is any size hand. If you have 0, if this is the last card in your hand, you will have an empty hand and draw 4 cards. That's good on its own.
Mm-hmm. That is. So, but if you outcast this card, it forces your opponent to also shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 4 cards, regardless of how many cards they have in their hand.
Yeah, so against other aggressive decks, you won't want to outcast this. But if you're playing against a combo deck, or you're playing against maybe a Quest Warlock that's post-Quest with like 9 cards in their hand, you might want to do this to take any 0-cost cards they have in their hand back into their deck, which next time they draw them, unless they use it with the hero power, draw it with the hero power, it won't be 0. They don't save the manipulation of the mana cost. So you could really, really, really disrupt your opponent very, very much with this card. And I like it because it brings a different style of Demon Hunter. I don't think you put this in aggressive Demon Hunter, which is the popular Demon Hunter right now. I think you put it in more of a tempo mid-range, maybe a combo style, to control style Demon Hunter. And I like it. I like it a lot.
As our good friend Ridiculous Hat stated this week, this card is going to cause a lot of conversation in the next coming weeks. In fact, I think his exact quote was, "This card instantly adds 20 minutes to any podcast you're listening to this week." So,
and possibly, I think this card alone is going to birth a whole subset of Trolldom videos.
Yeah.
Of people that are like, I got lethal next turn, I'm set up, and then they get glided and flip and throw their monitors and go nuts. Yeah, a lot of streams are going to be very exciting to watch when this card hits on the opponent's side, and they see everything they work towards just go away.
That's right. All right, next up we have another Demon Hunter rare spell, Cycle of Hatred. This is a 7 mana, deal 3 damage to all minions, summon a 3/3. What is that? Spirit? Okay. For every minion killed. So if if you've got a board with a bunch of little 1/1s and 2/2s, blow it all up, replace them all with 3/3s.
This isn't a good card. And I just don't see a world where on turn 7 it's going to kill that many minions unless you're killing your own minions. And in those cases, your opponent's probably cleared those minions for you anyways. However, I like this card because Demon Hunter needs some subpar spells because it waters down the pool for things like Volpera Scoundrel and other Discover style cards that they've said at the beginning they didn't want Demon Hunter generating a lot of cards. So they ultimately didn't want something like Volpera Scoundrel to be predominantly in Demon Hunter. So maybe spells like this will take Volpera Scoundrel out of the meta. And to me, that's a healthier Demon Hunter kind of meta. So I'm glad this card exists, but I don't think it's good. Now, as a deck that might discover something like this in another class or even in Demon Hunter, it might be good sometimes. So maybe it goes into a one of if you're a control style Demon Hunter, but that's if that deck even exists.
Right. All right. And next up on this page, we have a rare Demon Hunter minion, the Mage Hunter. This is a 3 mana 2/3 with Rush. Whenever this attacks a minion, silence it.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of people real confused about this card, but basically what happens is when you attack a minion with this, before it attacks and does the damage, it will silence the minion first, and then it will hit it and do its damage, because it says whenever this attacks a minion, silence it, not whenever it damages a minion. So that's kind of how you tell the order of operations. So you could attack into a Twilight Drake, and this will kill it, because it will attack into it, silence it, turning it into a 4/1, and then it'll die. So this is a really good tool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this goes in aggressive Demon Hunter. I think it goes in a mid-range Demon Hunter or tempo-style Demon Hunter. This is kind of an auto-include, in my opinion, because silence is rare. And silence is especially rare on a useful minion.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have a dual-class legendary, the Demon Hunter Hunter. This is Ace Hunter Kreen.
And this is the card that is inspired off of Hunter Ace.
That is correct.
The champion. So this
Ace
is
Hunter,
the
Hunter Ace. Card. Yeah. So it's a 3 mana 2/4. Your other characters are immune while attacking.
And immune means you will take no damage.
Correct. So you can use them to clear or whatever.
Yep. You could play this, and then maybe the 3 mana spell that summons 3 1/1s with Rush. Those 1/1s can trade in and not die. You could play this and have Warglaives of Azzinoth equipped, and since you are a character, you are a friendly character, you can swing in and hit each minion, and you'll be immune, so you don't take any damage.
That's correct. All right, moving on. We now have a Druid Epic card. It is a 10 mana Survival of the Fittest. Give +4/+4 to all minions in your hand, deck, and battlefield. So, we were just talking about Knights of the Frozen Throne, where we saw a 10 mana Druid spell called Ultimate Infestation. And now, here we are seeing another 10 mana Druid spell, Survival of the Fittest. What do you think?
I think that Kel'thuzad might go back into Druid. And you could also play the legendary we talked about earlier. That can guarantee this be on the top of your deck, setting up for your Kel'thuzad turn. So this is really strong. This is one of the cards that were kind of leaked via a translation that I wasn't sure was a real card or not. The other one hasn't shown up on reputable sites like Hearthstone or on the Play Hearthstone site yet, but this one has. So this is strong. Do I think that it's fast enough? I don't know. The meta is going to be very combo heavy, so maybe you'll have a lot of time to set up something like this. But we'll just have to see how good it is and see what other Druid tools we get. If there's a lot of other low-cost spells that you can prep up that might summon minions for you to maybe Kel'thuzad, play those low-cost summon minions, then you get a free survival of the fittest. Those minions all get +4/+4 plus the minions in your deck in hand. But by the time you're ready to set all that, how much of your deck is going to be left? That's the problem.
Right, yeah.
So how many of those cards in your deck will get +4/+4?
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have a Druid Shaman rare minion, the Groundskeeper. He's a 4-mana, 4/5 with Taunt and a Battle Cry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, restore 5 health.
Seems solid. 4-mana, 4/5. That's Yeti stats, so it's good, and it has Taunt.
Druid is known for having some 5 or more spells that are very impactful. Druid's always been good on the above 5 section, so this is totally plausible.
Yeah, and they did have some heal synergy, but a lot of that has rotated out of standard. So I don't know how viable that'll be. And in wild, that strategy doesn't really work very well.
Right.
So because of the extra tools they have for mitigating, those recurring minions and whatnot. So I don't know how good it'll be, and I don't know. Maybe you need the healing in Shaman. We'll just have to see. But I think this is a nice mid-range kind of card for rating wise. I don't think it's that great, but I don't think it's a terrible card. A 4/5 taunt on 4 is just good.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't even worry about the battle cry.
There you go. All right, next up we have a Shaman Epic minion, the Totem Goliath. 5-mana, 4/5, Death Rattle, summon all 4 basic totems. Overload 2.
Yeah, and it's important to note this is a totem.
This is a totem. So any spells you have that manipulate totems will work on this minion.
Or copy your totems, or
Splitting Axe.
Splitting Axe will copy that. There's another one that buffs a minion. If it's a totem, make a copy of it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this is a death rattle effect that if they kill the minion, it makes more totems for then can be buffed or splitting axed. So this I think might be the minion that kind of ties Totem Shaman together. Right. Now, is that going to be viable in standard? I don't know. A lot of those tools for Totem synergies are in wild only now. Yeah. But maybe in wild this is going to be crazy go nuts. Yeah. Now it's an odd Shaman card, so you can't put it in even Shaman. But maybe odd Shaman becomes a thing where you want to use the hero power that gives you a specific totem, and then this gives you all 4 totems. So I like this card. I'm hoping they'll do more totem synergies this set.
Yeah. All right, moving on, we have another dual class, the Shaman Mage. Here we have Ras Frost Whisper. She's a 5-mana, 3/6. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemies, improved by spell damage.
And this does hit your opponent's face.
It does, because it's all enemies, not all minions. Now, we just got rid of a set or two ago that demon that Warlock demon that did 1 damage to all minions. At the end of turn. That card brutally messed with the meta. Like, it was killing all kinds of things, and now we have a mage shaman version that can do even more damage based on spell power.
And that might be very relevant, because I'd like to go ahead and move to the next card. This is where this style of deck is going to break.
So you have a mage legendary minion, Mozaki Master Duelist. It's a 5 mana 3/8. After you cast a spell, gain spell damage +1.
So if you can get a couple Sorcerer's Apprentices on the board and find a way to get them to stick, and then you play Mozaki, and then you have Ras Frost Whisper, either it's on the board or you play it that turn, and then you play a lot of small spells that maybe discover other spells, and then discover more spells to play another spell, and you might find a couple Frostbolts in there that are free that you can use the plus spell damage on to do a little extra more than 3 damage to your opponent's face. Meanwhile, and then you have Mana Cyclone to give you even more spells back, that anything under maybe 2 or 1 cost can be played for free. You're jacking up that spell damage to possibly 6, 7, 8, and then at the end of the turn, Ras Frost Whisper just
obliterates everything. Yeah.
So, I mean, is it as viable in Standard? Maybe not. We'll see what tools we get. But in Wild, with 1 tick of Emperor Thaurissan on both these minions and two Sorcerer's Apprentices, you can do it all on turn 10.
Oh, that's disgusting.
In a format, and the reason I keep mentioning Wild is because Wild has gotten a lot of traction lately. Plus, there is a new mode that's supposed to be coming out in this set cycle. We haven't heard about it yet, and they've said it will utilize all of your set, including your wild cards.
Mm-hmm. Your entire collection.
So it might not be that we do this in Wild. We play Wild to do something like this. We might just play this new mode that allows wild cards, and we may be able to do things. Maybe Emperor Thaurissan's legal in that. Mm-hmm. And if so, then that opens up the possibility. So we don't know anything about that, but I want to keep Wild fresh on the brain, because these might be thoughts and strategies we think of with that new mode. So, that's right. And of course, if you play Wild, this is definitely, like I said, this set alone so far, we've only seen like a third of the set, or a quarter of the set. This set alone is the most impactful Wild set I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. All right, moving on. We are now halfway through our slideshow. So we have a Mage Epic Spell Combustion. This is a 3 mana. Deal 4 damage to a minion. Any excess damages both neighbors.
Yeah, so if you hit a 2/2 with this, it will do 2 damage to the left and right. Yeah. Ultimately doing 6 damage. The most you can do off this card as it is 7. You can hit a 1/1. It does 3 to each side. That's 7. Yeah. However, you pair it up with Mozaki Master Duelist and other spells that turn, and you might be able to clear a whole board of giants.
Oh.
Who knows?
Yeah, that gives me chills.
This is a spell, so spell damage is going to be key. And there has been a spell damage mage that in the last few sets has kind of existed, but it's been like tier 3, tier 4. Mm-hmm. It just hasn't had the glue to stick it all together. And these cards might be it. The combination of the dual class cards with Shaman and these mage spell damage synergy cards. So, and there's not a lot of damage that goes to face with spells in this set so far, but this is a board clear for 3 mana that could get jacked up pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Rogue Legendary Infiltrator Lillian. It's a 4 mana 4/2 with stealth and Death Rattle. Summon a 4/2 Forsaken Lillian that attacks a random enemy. So basically, it's a 4-mana 8/4 split across 2 minions, one of which attacks randomly when summoned.
Yeah, and it has stealth, which means you have agency in more agency as the aggressor with this card. If it didn't have stealth, they could easily clear it and maybe set up a board state that the 4/2 is likely going to hit something that won't be that impactful, or maybe it's a poisonous minion, or maybe it's a minion with a death rattle. But because it has stealth, you could choose what to attack.
And again, it's a random enemy, so it can go face.
Yeah, and I like not only this card's flavor. A 4-mana 4/2 is not terrible. I mean, Paladin been playing them for years, but I love the narrative that this is telling the Hearthstone story of Lillian Voss.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen Lillian Voss as a rogue card, an undead rogue card before.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're seeing kind of the story of how she got there. So they've done a good job with the story of this, and
tying it in. Yeah,
I like this card. I think it's a good, solid. It's going to be a great minion you want to find off of a random effect. You know, Witchy Lackey turning into a 4-drop. Lillian Voss would be great. Mm-hmm. So I like this card. It's good. Okay. It's a good legendary.
Next up, we have a rogue epic spell. 1 mana, Secret Passage. Replace your hand with 5 cards from your deck. Swap back next turn.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions with this card. It's 1 mana, so it's a great combo activator, but then you're going to shuffle the combo cards into your deck. So maybe it's not a combo activator.
Unless
also,
you're activating the combo of cards that you could draw.
Maybe. Also replace your hand with 5 cards from your deck. Does that mean your hand goes into your deck temporarily, or the way I read it, it doesn't. So if you play anything that would draw other cards, it won't draw the cards that were in your hand. It has so many scenarios I don't have answers to.
Variables, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those cards that you almost put it in the deck and see what happens.
For science!
Also, it says replace your hand with 5 cards from your deck, swap back. What happens with those 5, with the cards that you don't use? Do they go back into your deck?
Right, yeah.
You know, or maybe you could play this, draw into your Galakron that's in your deck. You play the Galakron, but then the Galakron copy still goes back into your deck. I don't know how it works. Yeah. And I'm excited to have some science with this card. So it's going to be fun.
Okay, moving on. We now have a Rogue Warrior Minion. So this is another dual class legendary. Dr. Krestanov. He's a 5-mana 4/4 with Rush. Whenever this attacks, give your weapon +1/+1.
Yeah, so this is more buffing to weapons in the form of durability as well as damage.
Right.
I'm hoping there's a lot more weapons coming out. We've seen the Paladin warrior weapon so far already, right?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't reviewed it, but we've seen that there is a Paladin warrior weapon, which, you know, the little hot dog weapon. We'll talk about that later. So maybe there's kind of an area where you're going to get some weapons that are kind of rogue style weapons and Paladin style weapons, and then of course the weapons that warrior already has. It's kind of like a Captain Greenskin, but could be better. So if it has Rust, so you're going to get +1/+1 on a 5-mana 4/4 body. But if it survives in a way that you maybe you run into a 3-attack minion and kill it, and then you can copy it with the Bloodsworn Mercenary, and then that copy can attack, and now your weapon gets +2/+2. So there's agency in that. Also, if you only have 1 durability on your weapon, and to get the best trade, you have to swing your weapon first. That might be a bad thing, but it allows you to make those decisions on what to do.
Right.
Obviously, with One's Caliber, that's an extra bomb in your opponent's deck. So maybe with the green skin, that's 2 more durability.
Yeah.
With the Corsair Cache, it's more durability. Weapon style, warrior decks might come back into prevalence. We still have the Warrior Quest that relies on weapons. So maybe a quest style warrior comes back into the meta, which is good because a lot of combo decks might rely on multiple casting and multiple spells, and we have that one minion that gives you, if you have a quest in play, it gives you a coin. So maybe that's agency. I like what Dr. Krasinov insinuates the meta can do. Not necessarily that it's a great card on its own, but it allows for more flexibility in that control style slow variant. Imagine this with the Bulwark.
Yeah.
It gives an extra durability and attack, so you can trade into something and not take damage.
Right.
So maybe in a control style, Dr. Krasinov is perfect. I like the card.
Okay. Moving on, we have another Rogue Warrior dual class card. This is a epic minion, the Steel Dancer. It's a 4-mana 4/4 battle cry. Summon a random minion with cost equal to your weapon's attack.
Yeah, so I had to read this a few times because there's been other cards that are summon minions with stats equal to your weapon's stats.
This isn't minion so equal to the cost.
If you have a 4-attack weapon,
you'll summon a 4-mana minion.
You'll get a 4-mana minion, which could be a Dr. Krasinov.
Yep.
Oh, no,
that was 5, yeah. It could be another Steel Dancer, though.
It could be another Steel Dancer. But if you have a 5-attack weapon, like an Arcanite Reaper, you could get a Dr. Krasinov, which will then attack and then buff it. This is a cool playability. I think it has a lot of agency and a lot of playability in Warrior. I don't know how it will do well in Rogue, but we haven't seen all the Rogue cards yet. So maybe we're going to have more of a weapon-based Rogue, which we've seen before and has been successful.
Okay. Next up, we have a Warrior Epic Minion, the Playmaker. He's a 3-mana 4/3. After you play a rush minion, summon a copy with 1 health remaining. So if this guy, you play this guy first, then you play Dr. Krasinov.
Yep.
That's 8 mana. Swing with both. That's +2/+2 ticks on a weapon.
And 2 4/4 attacks. You play this also with Restless Mummy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have, 12 points of rush damage?
Yeah.
In 7 mana worth of minions. And a 3-mana 4/3 is not a terrible body.
No.
So, yeah, maybe you can damage this in a way and copy this with your Bloodsworn Mercenary, and then you play more rush minions and just start going crazy, go nuts. I like this card, but it goes, in my opinion, it goes away from the weapon style warrior, and I wonder if the weapon style warrior will be a better deck, so this card won't see as much play. But then again, maybe you put at least one copy for the Krasinov combo. I don't know.
All right, next up we have the Warrior Paladin Weapon. Or what did you call it? The hot dog card because it's ketchup and mustard.
It's hot dog. So I made a joke on Twitter that this is hot dog paladin because it's warrior and paladin. And for those that are listening, the warrior paladin cards have red like ketchup on the left side, and then that golden mustard color for paladin cards on the right side. And so I think cards that are use the dual classes are going to be a hot dog paladin because it makes me think of ketchup and mustard.
So anyway, we have a weapon. It's an epic weapon, the Ceremonial Maul. It's a 3-mana 2/2 with Spell Burst, summon a student with taunt, and stats equal to the spell's cost.
So Warrior might be good. Maybe you play this and then you play a brawl,
Yeah,
and then you're guaranteed a 5/5 with taunt at the end of the brawl.
that's true.
I don't know what other high cost spells there would be that'd be impactful. In Paladin, I'm not quite sure because the popular Paladin right now is Libram Paladin, and you're reducing the cost of those spells. So I don't. Often you're playing those for free, which I'm hoping wouldn't pop your spell burst, but at the same time it might and make a 0/0 that immediately dies. I don't know. And then if you play the Libram that heals and summons the minion, you already have a minion with Divine Shield and Taunt. You really don't need another Taunt minion. I'm not sure how good it'd be in Paladin, but I think in Warrior it has a place, and maybe that weapon style Warrior with some control elements in it, and you have some control spells, and this could be good.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Paladin Legendary. Now, anybody that is familiar with WoW lore knows who Turalyon is. He's in Hearthstone. He's an 8 mana, 3/12 with Rush. Whenever this attacks a minion, set that minion's attack and health to 3.
Yeah, and the actual full name of this is Turalyon the Tenured. It didn't get on this image because this card was revealed today, so I got it on the slide last, and it had like 3 different translations that were all just off the wall crazy and different. So this seems to be the translation that according to sources at Hearthstone say is most accurate. So whenever this attacks a minion, set that minion's attack and health to 3.
Yeah,
and
so
it has Rush.
This guy can come right in, and if they have an 8/8 giant, he can attack it. It becomes a 3/3, and he clears it, and still has 9 health left.
Yeah, and if you put Divine Shield on this thing, there's all kinds of options to make Turalyon even better that fit within the 2 mana variants. You know, 8 mana for a 3/12 with this type of ability.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of your Paladin legendaries in the past is they don't impact the board when they're played. The reason Tyrion's so good is because he is a 6/6 taunt with Divine Shield that is for 8 mana.
Right.
So he impacts that board, and if he's destroyed, it gives you 5 extra damage in a weapon. So it's hard to decide if you want to clear it. If it takes a silence or takes a polymorph effect, then that's good because it's eating up more resources from your opponent. And a lot of the Ford rings, not Ford rings, a lot of the legendaries from the past that were Paladin they sat on the board and you had to fly return to be good. But Turalyon doesn't. If they played the new Deathwing, Mad Aspect, that to clear the board and leave a 12 attack minion in the board, well, then you play Turalyon, attack into it, and boom, it's a 3/3. Turalyon still survives. That's the great thing is Turalyon will, in most cases, survive whatever it attacks, unless it has poisonous, really is the only thing, or a crazy death rattle. So I like this. I think 8 mana for it is fine. There may be other cards that maybe allow this to attack more or give it more agency. Maybe obviously you have secrets that can bring this back with 1 health. So maybe in the case where it dies, it can attack again and affect a second minion. I like Turalyon a lot, especially with Librams, where you can constantly buff him up.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Priest, and here we have a epic Priest minion, the Cabal Acolyte. He's a 4 mana 2/6 taunt. Spell burst. Gain control of a random enemy minion with 2 or less attack.
Yeah, so this has the I forget
I know.
which one it was.
Yeah.
The one you always love saying the name wrong.
Yeah.
But it's a minion that takes a 2-attack minion. Now, in the teaser for this, it showed that the minion could attack a la Shadow Madness.
Shadow Madness.
But it can't. You just get control of it. But there's the priest spell that reduces the cost of a minion, and it goes up. Not reduces cost, reduces the attack of a minion, and it goes up each turn. So maybe that spell gets ran at 0 cost. This is a good card. It has taunt. It's a 2/6 taunt, so it's really good.
Yeah. Then we also have a priest common minion, the Frazzled Freshman. This is a 1-mana 1/4. That's just tempo.
Yeah.
On turn 1?
Yeah, and if you have other cards in other classes that not discover, because you won't discover a priest minion, but like give you a random 1-drop, you could get this and be very, very happy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Single 1/4. This is the one we talked about last week that hadn't shown up on lists yet, and that was because it was teased as part of the Korean video from that production company where they revealed quite a few cards.
Yeah.
The main character is a Frazzled Freshman. Looks just like this character. It was a really good video. If you haven't seen it yet, and I know you haven't, Avanties.
No, I'll check it out.
We'll check that out after the show.
All right. Next up, we have the Priest Warlock dual class legendary Disciplinarian Gandling. So he's a 4-mana 3/6. After you play a minion, destroy it and summon a 4/4 failed student. So yeah, I think we talked a little bit about this early in the week, but this just screams zoo.
Yeah. I don't think we showed this card last week. I thought we did.
No. We didn't, but I think you and I talked about it early in the week.
Yeah.
It was released pretty early in the week.
So I'm not sure. It's a Priest Warlock dual class card, so I'm not sure how well it'll be in Priest, but in Zoo Warlock with small minions that maybe have death rattles, leper gnomes. You can kill a leper gnome doing 2 damage to the face. That the one thing to note is it says destroy it. So if it has a death rattle, it doesn't transform it. Right. It will have the death rattle go off. So if you play a leper gnome, it'll do the 2 damage and you'll get a 4/4. If you play any of the eggs, it'll kill the eggs, summon whatever comes out of them, and then also give you a 4/4. So all of a sudden, fast tempo style or aggressive style decks can have this as a top end.
Yeah.
And do really well. At 4 mana, it's really 4 mana 3/6. It might even stick on the board.
Yeah, because I mean, with Zoo, the object obviously is to kill your opponent fast, but sometimes you can get stalled, and if you make it into turn 6 or turn 7 or turn 8, this card can really turn the tides from you having a bunch of little minions to having some good mid-sized minions to attack back with.
Yeah, and plus with Reborn minions, you'll get that Reborn minion out of it.
Yeah.
And in Priest and more of a slower tempo style, you might have some Death Rattle minions that maybe destroy other minions on the other side of the board that you might want to kill off with this.
Right.
And I know in Wild, this is going to be great for Priest because then they can resurrect all those with a lot of the resurrect mechanics that are in Wild and then get possibly Gandling back again. So. Yeah. This is a really good card. I know a lot of people are looking at it for Zoo for Standard, and you're probably going to see a lot of Day 1 Zoo.
All right. Staying with the Priest Warlock dual class, we have a epic minion, the Flesh Giant. As with all other giants in the game of Hearthstone, it is an 8-mana 8/8, and its ability costs 1 less for each time your hero's health changed during your turns. Not just this turn, all turns. So if you take damage, it gets cheaper. If you heal, it gets cheaper.
So we're seeing that all the dual class cards kind of have a shared theme between the two classes. With the Mage and Rogue, they discovered mage spells, but also had combo. Well, this one, it looks like Priest and Warlock are going to do dual class things based on your health changing at all. Now for Warlock, this is easy. You tap, your health changes, boom, you've met the qualifier. However, with Priest, it might be a little harder because with Priest, you have to find a way to take damage.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well this is going to be in a deck like Priest if something like an aggressive style deck is not in the meta. If metas are all about OTKs and combos, maybe your opponent can say, well, I'm just not hitting that Priest in the face because it's going to activate their Flesh Giants or any of the other dual class stuff.
Right.
So maybe in Priest it doesn't work as well, but in Warlock it works really well.
Yeah. Next up, we have a Priest Warlock rare minion, the Brittle Bone Destroyer. Now, this is a 4-mana 3/3 with a battle cry. Again, if your hero's health changed this turn, destroy a minion. Not random. You choose which minion gets destroyed.
Yeah, this is targeted destroy a minion.
Yeah.
And for 4-mana 3/3, I'll take the stat hit of roughly, 1-2 in stats for destroy a minion. Do I think this is going to be a great on curve play? No, because you're obviously going to have to couple it with your hero power. So you're looking at turn 6, turn 7, maybe even turn 8 before you can fully utilize the Bristlebone Destroyer. Yeah. However, those are the turns you want to destroy a big minion your opponent has, or a impactful minion like a Turelion. Maybe he traded into something and you want to play a big minion, but you need to destroy that Turelion first. And he still has 9 health left on it after trading into a minion. So Bristlebone Destroyer is going to be very important in those late turns. Mm-hmm. So I don't think this gets put into a zoo style deck or anything like that, but maybe in Quest Warlock or and possibly into a Priest deck. Again, I worry about Priest gaining health when they use their hero power.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. We are almost done with this week's reveals.
Almost.
We have the Warlock Legendary Arkwich Willow. She's a 9-mana 7/7 battle cry. Summon a random demon from your hand and deck.
Yeah, so this is a deck building challenge. You need to make sure to be able to have a good costed minion demon in your deck and your hand simultaneously. In standard, I say this is probably Quest Warlock because you can, if you get both the minions in your hand, you can then turn around and plot twist to shuffle those back into your deck if you need to, set up for that Arkwich Willow. But in a lot of cases, this 9 mana for 7/7 that summons 2 rather beefy demons.
So, I mean, worst case, you're getting a 7/7 and 1 more demon. Best case, you're getting a 7/7 and 2 beefy demons. So, I mean, this is just tempo.
Yeah, it's a good card. It's a very good card. And it's... So, when we're talking about Witchy Lackey synergies, this doesn't have a synergy, obviously, but this gives you a 7/7 decent body at 9 mana. And the problem with 9 mana is either you're going to get a really bad body or you're going to get a really big body. There's no kind of middle ground. Maybe those 4/12 dragons are a little bit of the middle ground, but there isn't really kind of that 7/7 soft spot. And so this kind of makes using a Witchy Lackey an 8-cost minion maybe a little more viable because you could get a 7/7 instead of getting a lot lower cost like a 5/5.
Right.
But yeah, it's aside from that, just putting this in a demon-centric Warlock. I don't think the deck she calls for exists right now. But again, this set is going to bring out all kinds of new decks, and I'm excited.
That's right. All right, next up we have a Warlock rare minion, the Boneweb Egg. So it's a 2-mana 0/2, Death Rattle, summon 2 2/1 spiders. If you discard this, trigger its Death Rattle. we just got done talking about Disciplinarian Grandling, and now we have what looks like a really good synergy card.
Well, first off, talking about what it looks like, this card art is a thing of nightmares. This is the thing that scares me in the middle of the night when I close my eyes to sleep. This card art embodies one of my biggest fears, and that's spiders hatching out of eggs.
Yep.
It grotesques me. It scares me. I'm gonna have to go take some meds after this. I hate looking at this card, but this is good. This is a good egg. This is an egg at a 0-2 stat line that summons 2 minions. It's not jacked up stat line like 0-3 or 0-5. And honestly, the discard part, I don't know how prevalent that's going to be in standard. There's not a lot of open discard. Most of it is discard the highest cost, and this likely will not be the highest cost in your hand. I think without the discard line in this, it's a great card.
Yeah.
With the discard line, it might have some extra bonuses in the future that we haven't seen cards come out yet. This is going to be a very good card, and I hate to say that I think we're going to see a lot of it because I don't want to see those spiders getting across my game board. It's
all right. And last up, we have a Warlock Demon Hunter epic spell. Now, this is, I'm probably going to butcher this. It's Philosophy, spelled with an F-E-L.
This card wins the name game so far.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a 1 mana, copy the lowest cost demon in your hand, outcast, give both +1/+1.
Yeah, and this does promote an aggressive style Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
I don't know how well. I mean, in Zoo, it might actually be good. I mean, if you can copy a Flame Imp, and now it's a 1 mana
4/2.
4/3.
4/3. Yeah.
It's normally 3/2. Now, and you'll have to discard with each of those. You might end up discarding your Fel Imp, but or not Fel Imp, a Flame Imp, but still,
you might also discard your
spider
web egg.
Your spider egg. So
yeah.
This is good. If you didn't see the reveal for this card, it was hilarious. I don't know who the young lady was, but it was a young lady in Firebat, and they were both comparing their classes. And they had all the same classes. She said, "Oh, we have all the same classes." She says, "Oh, wait, you have Philosophy, but I have Philosophy." So he's like, "Well, we'll see. Maybe it's a typo." So she shows up to class, and it's Firebat wearing this like paper-made mustache and goatee, and he does a really atrocious rap about this card, and it's horrible and cheesy, the greatest thing in the world. And I know he was going for like the Ben Brode style, like people are gonna love this. It flopped. It was good. It was comical. It was memey, but man, hey, Firebats, don't go into rapping. Stick to GMs. Just
there you go.
Just keep your day job.
All right.
But yeah, this is a good card. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the rest of the cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because by this time next week, we will have the rest of the cards.
Yeah, when we record next week, the entire set will have been revealed. We will have opened our packs. And I'm excited to...
So next week, you're not going to hear a lot of news. We're going to jump right into it. We'll have close to maybe a little bit under 100 cards to reveal.
Yeah.
To review. Yeah. And
right.
I'm excited. Yeah. Let's get there.
All right. So that's going to do it for us. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit the subscribe button below on YouTube if you haven't done so already. And if you are interested in checking out our patron-only Discord, we post all these images and we talk about these cards. Reveal season is a big time in our patron-only Discord. Head on over to patreon.com/heropower. You can get in and join us for as little as $1 a month. We'd love to have you as part of that conversation. But until next week,
don't forget to use your hero power.